prenup should be a good word. Hey, let's maybe even we've changed the word, right? Like prenuptial, like going, let's just have
our financial plan.
Our financial, yeah, that's what it's called. It's called a financial plan.
Welcome back to Old Dog New Tricks with Harley and Malarkey. We're feeling a little peppier than we were last week. So the best thing I ate this week was the brown butter miso cabbage at Anime. And apparently this has been on the menu for a long time. Brian's had this before. Nobody's ever ordered this for me. Nobody's ever said, Danielle, this is a showstopper. You got to eat it. And I took some girlfriends to Anime on Friday and we ordered it thanks to the waitress. And I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Well, yes, I'd like to take credit for that dish. It was several years ago. I had a restaurant in Hawaii, Herringbone, in the International Market Square, and I went to Chinatown, and I ate at this restaurant called something, James Beard nominated, and they had a charred cabbage dish on the menu, and I was blown away. And, you know, the Irish love cabbage.
Yeah.
Right? I think the whole world loves cabbage. And I told, back in the day, the chefs before Tara at Anime, I was like, I have to have a charred cabbage dish. And it wasn't until Tara we got the greatest charred cabbage dish of all time. So essentially, I did nothing to do with it except, hey, man, I really want some charred cabbage. But that's how far I took that dish.
Yeah. It was delicious. I can't believe you've never ordered it for me.
And then Tara took it all the way to the moon. That is one of the dishes that has been on the menu since day one.
I can't believe I've never had it. Blown away.
I've had it like 50 times.
Oh, where have I been?
Oh, shit. Where were you? Oh, no. I haven't had it either. I can't wait to try the cabbage dish. It's so good. It is so good. Just funky junk. And I love it when you take a
Funky
common
junk. I don't know if that's the way I'd want to describe something.
When you call the garlic chili crack,
yeah,
you know, so I can say funky junk.
Funky junk just sounds like a ball sack that's been in apparently tidy whities for too long.
Funky junk. Hey, gentlemen, don't get your balls in the funky junk. Just stop it. Stop it. I don't have tiny balls or tidy whities.
What was the best thing you ate this week?
Funny thing is, this may sound like an endorsement for Anime. Yeah. But when I showed up late and crashed your dinner party with your girlfriends, that shisho wrapped shrimp.
Jimari.
I haven't had a shisho. Used to be one of my favorite things on the planet. And I think I over shishoed myself back in the day. Sometimes you just shisho yourself. And you're like, whoa, did I just shishoed myself? And I kind of got over shisho, but I was so refreshed. It's like this mint cilantro hybrid kind of herbaceous thing wrapped in that. And it was just...
Yeah, it's pork and shrimp rolled up like a little cigarette in a nori, I think lightly fried, and then wrapped in a shiso leaf with trout roe.
Shisho! I said sheesh! Oh. God help me.
Okay, well, I had a subject, but then you said, wait, I had a subject. So I'm just intrigued to hear what your subject is. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but what is it?
Prenup. It's Kanye. Got to get a prenup. Okay?
Okay.
Because I have insight. And we talk about subjects that really we don't know what the fuck we're talking about half the time. I mean, I think we do.
Yeah.
But we pretend to be experts on things that we don't know a lot about. I mean, actually, let's just put that differently. You tend to be an expert on things I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about.
No. Do you know how many books I read?
I know.
Do you know how people get degrees? They read fucking books. Do you know how many books
Elon created SpaceX and Tesla from reading books, he said.
Yeah.
You know? Yes, great. But... prenup, all right?
Well, I think this came up because this week I was talking to Brian's mom and she's like, has he asked you to marry him yet? And I'm like, no, Mamie, he actually hasn't. And I was like, I think
he just got divorced last week.
He's been divorced for almost a year, but they just figured out financial stuff and finally settled last week, just to be clear. But I was like, no, he hasn't asked to marry me yet. I think he's a little scarred from, his recent divorce proceedings. And she was like, well, he can just get a prenup and lock everything away from you. And I was like, I don't think that's how you're supposed to phrase that. But yes, we have talked about a prenup and I will be signing one.
That's a boy mom. That's a boy mom right there. That's a boy mom at the best, all right? Two young boys and she's going, you just sign a prenup. Yeah, he'll just lock it all away from you. You won't get nothing. Nothing. Mamie.
I think prenups can have a negative connotation of like, oh, this is something you sign because you might be marrying a gold digger, or, you only sign a prenup if you don't think it's going to last, or you sign a prenup because somebody doesn't trust you. And that's not true. And Brian and I have talked about getting married since the day we met. It's been off and on of like
Day one, we talked about this?
We've talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Day one?
No, the first year of us dating, I think you were pretty adamant that you would never get married again.
Never gonna get married again.
Now he's changed his tune. But I was the first one to bring up,
That's a whole nother subject. Yes, I hear you. I don't mean to interrupt. It's just in my nature. The government rule of marriage and the law of marriage is what really turns me off. The commitment of a lifetime of love and the commitment of a relationship between two people, I find beautiful and fantastic. But man, I just got out of the ringer. Through the divorce, realizing that when you dissolve this union, it is a business transaction. It is heavily taxed through the lawyers, through the judges, through the court systems, through everything. And I'm positive I found the truth of divorces. And the idea of, I took it all the way out of there. We were talking about marriage. I love the idea of a marriage where you commit before your God, your friends, your family, whatever it is, to a lifetime together. But I really feel by doing prenup, we can eliminate that giant bureaucracy of legal lawyers and government control on your marriage business, because I'm positive that the legal world, the lawyer world, the divorce court world, they firmly believe they're entitled to 25 to 33% of your fucking net wealth. That's what they're going to take.
It's crazy.
I swear to God, they have a secret code language. I think lawyers are all like this. They don't go to school to learn law. They go to school to learn how to write really long sentences that nobody else can read with a lot of words that don't make sense, so that they have to talk to each other, and us commoners can't use this secret language. But those divorce lawyers, they have an unwritten law, and they go, hey, sorry to my divorce lawyer, I know you disagree with this, but I see through you. I mean, I love you. We had a great run. But the idea is they are going to filibuster this divorce until both sides get the amount of money that they think they need. They printed every document that I ever had. There were 14 cases of documents at the end of my divorce proceedings. I was like, did we open any of those books ever? Can't you just go on the internet and find that stuff? Can't you, just go on the files that you have in your computer? Because they print them. And you know why they print them? So that they can have some little person that they pay $25 an hour for, that then they charge me $150 an hour for. And then we pay for the 3-ring binders. We pay for the paper.
I'm so bored of all this. This is just, I've lived this for the past 3.5 years, and it fucking sucks.
Okay.
Have I gotten to say anything in like 5 fucking minutes?
No.
Land the plane. What are you going to say?
Go.
We lived through it. It's a fucking nightmare. And it's just like it's not about trying to figure out the most fair deal or the way that both people can be successful financially in the future. It's a fucking bloodbath. It's disgusting, the shit that happens. And it's not about finding the most fair, equitable deal for both parties where both parties are going to be financially successful for the remainder of their lives apart from each other. It's about screwing each other over. It's about manipulating your client. Like, we watched how the lawyers manipulate their client to spend $500,000 on a fucking
I don't know
goose
if you have to put
chase
a number on it
that leads to nowhere.
Yeah.
No, that's just like, generally speaking, like subpoenas and shit that like doesn't lead to anything, that makes the lawyers a shit ton of money and makes you lose your money. Like, that's why I'm just bored of talking about it, because we lived it and it fucking sucked. But
okay, so let's go back to the original subject.
The original subject is, you want to get a prenup, because if you don't get a prenup, you're subjecting yourself to the government's rules, regulations, and policies and timelines to dissolve something that's no longer working for you. If you get a prenup, you take charge of how your marriage would dissolve if it dissolves. And, nobody necessarily wants to think about what might happen if it doesn't work out when you're super in love with somebody. But that's the best time to think about, how would I want this to, work out, and how can I keep the government out of my love life? Because trust me, you do not want the government or expensive lawyers in your love life, or the demise of it.
And so and they've tried to, how do you make something horrible? I swear to God, there's like a lawyer secret meeting, a secret society of lawyers that are like going, say prenup's horrible. Prenup's horrible. If you cannot discuss your finances before you get married with the one you're going to marry, then you probably shouldn't marry them. It's got to be open communication of money. What do you see for our money? How do you see our money combining? What do you see the future of our money? How are we going to do this? Are we going to share a checking account? Are we going to do this? These are things you have to discuss before you get married, and that's in a prenup. How about we make our own contract to show that we're thoroughly in love and we totally trust each other? At this point, you trust each other, right? At the end, when somebody's done something wrong or there's been alcohol or there's just deteriorated relationship, you don't trust each other anymore. At this point, you trust each other. You go, hey, I love you so much. I say we split it 50-50, which that sounds about right because that's kind of the law of California and most other laws too. Like, how about we put our money here? You have that money from some inheritance. You came to the table with that, but all the money from this day forward becomes ours. If anything ever happens, you make a bad decision, I make a bad decision, we just decide, hey, it's not quite right anymore. Something's happened, 50-50. Can we agree upon that? Yes. Oh, here, lawyers. No, we already figured it out. It's 50-50. Thank you so much. It will save you a fortune. But also just saying, hey, if you're going into this and you do a prenup and you say, hey, how about all of our money in the future? I get 70% of, and you get 30% of. Is that fair? Like the money that we grow together and we build together.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So now I'm a fucking asshole. Yeah. Now do you think you want to marry me? No,
exactly. Going into a prenup, the goal of a prenup in a healthy marriage, I think should be to protect both parties. And it should be something that both parties would feel good about. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm the man. I have way more money than you. If you leave me, this relationship doesn't work out. You're going to be, on the streets kind of thing. If that's the way that your future partner speaks to you and speaks about the potential future dissolution of your marriage, is that the person you want to get in a relationship with?
Yeah, so you might as well talk about it right now because it might just save you all that exhaustion of a relationship, a broken relationship, and moving forward. You need to be able to discuss the hard things before the hard things arrive.
Yeah.
Kind of pre-plan. Let's do a little role playing here. Hey, if anything in the world happened and somehow our love faded or broke or something like that, I would want you to be taken care of for the rest of your life. I love you so much.
That's so nice.
I love you so much. And I'm like, I think the only way to do that is if we just split our money, we split our money. I have to be honest, I've got some inheritance. Yeah. My family's going to do that. That probably doesn't count.
Yeah.
But like I said, if I start a business and you raise the kids and you support them and you support me and you give me a back rub and whatever sexual favors you negotiate to, I would say, God, 50% of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sounds very generous and kind and shows that you value the partnership that I bring.
Yeah. Yeah. Or how about we don't do any? I mean, because if you're in the state of California, that's what you're going to fucking pay anyway. So you might as well just get
more.
Or actually a hell of a lot more because it's all going to be the lawyer fees because they look at your net wealth and they go, oh, he's worth X amount or they're worth X amount. We're going to make sure we get at least 25% of that in our pocket, right? So the money you've worked at for 25 years, let's say, we're going to take that in the next year and a half, 2 years from you to make sure this dissolves. And we'll make sure that you guys fight enough and stay at odds enough that there's no resolution until we get that 25%.
Yeah. That's an extra million to, depending on your net worth, millions of dollars. And my parents went through a divorce when I was in my early 20s, and it was horrible, as most divorces are, and it financially decimated both of them. It was they spent so much money on legal fees that they didn't have, and my dad never really financially recovered from it. And my dad really wanted to stay married to my mom and just pay her, half of his income each month and not go through the process of divorce. And if they had done that, I think my dad would be in a much better financial position today. And essentially, that's what you can accomplish with the prenup of hey, we maybe have to pay lawyers, a few $1,000s to do the paperwork, probably a lot of a few $1,000s because lawyers are fucking, they or it's a crime. But other than that, you get to walk away and you get to keep more of your own money in your pocket, and you get to end up in a better financial position with less resentment and hatred for this person that you shared many good times with.
Yeah. And, I look at a long-term relationship as a success, right? I was married for a very long time. It obviously dissolved and there were some problems, but I have 3 beautiful children. I want my children to be taken care of. I want the mother of my children to be taken care of. I don't want to waste money, but their legal is like, don't trust him. You can never trust him. Why? I'm like I didn't do anything wrong in the relationship. It was just like we both made mistakes. It was totally fucked up. But like financially, I always made very, very smart decisions, and I want her to be financially secure so that she doesn't rely on the children or myself one day. We want her to have financial independence, right? But those lawyers are like prey on her on the weakness, prey on the weakness. No, don't trust him. We got to do this. We got to audit this. He's hiding money here. He's doing that. I'm like, here's my fucking tax returns. It has everything. I'm not hiding from the government. So it's just they exhaust everything they possibly can to get every amount of money. So prenup should be a good word. Hey, let's maybe even we change the word, right? Like prenuptial, like going, let's just have
our financial plan.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called a financial plan. And I know everybody has a financial plan, but you
have a financial plan A and a financial plan B, maybe this is your financial plan B.
Yes. So don't look at prenup as a bad thing. Go into it going, and especially now, because like I said, I came from that side of it. I was young, married, family, kids, no prenup, made money as we went, lost a third of our wealth to the fucking lawyers. And now on both sides. And now I'm in a beautiful new relationship, but having learned those lessons. And Danielle's like, I wouldn't even marry you without a prenup because, you have money you've made in the past here and you have this. Just tell me and tell us, and let's figure out together as a couple in love, what if something happened? What does the future look like for us?
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how prenups work, but like part of me is like, I would want our prenup to say, like, if we are in a reasonable place, like we have the right to talk about exactly how we want our finances to be in that moment. Like we're not held to this prenup if we both agree that we'd rather just figure it out. Maybe I've started a business during the point of our relationship, or there's been things that we've done together and I've already taken an income from it, like where we can just say, hey, we're just going to figure this out because we're still in a good place. We just don't want to be married anymore. And if we're not in a good place, this is what we've agreed upon before then.
Yeah. And I don't know how prenups work either. I'm just like, you have to be able to have the hard conversations that are just like, let's get married and throw all caution to the wind. And a lot of people go into relationships just completely in love. Somebody does something stupid, something happens, there's, alcohol, sex, work, whatever it is, things happen in relationships. Life happens, right? And you can even in your prenup go, if you cheat on me, I get this. And if I cheat on you, you get that. I mean, that's kind of all fucked up, too.
Yeah. I read a book by, I forget what his name is right now, but he's like one of the most successful divorce lawyers. He was on Diary of a CEO. He wrote a book on like how to stay married based on his years of crazy divorce. And he said shit like that never works. It does happen. People cheat on each other, but the prenup saying if you do this, you don't get X amount of money never stops people from cheating on each other. And it's kind of like a weird thing to have in there. And he said like some of the weird things he's had in prenups are like one man had one that every 10 pounds his wife gained, or every 1 pound his wife gained, she lost like a certain amount of money in the divorce.
That's some Orange County, LA shit right there.
Yeah,
huh?
And so he was her lawyer, and he's like, all right, he's like, you eat as many fucking cheeseburgers and fries as you can the day before your weigh-in, because she had to do a weigh-in when they signed the prenup, and he's like, put some fucking coins in your pocket.
Shut up! that's just not the relationship you want to be.
No, but I think
that sounds broken from day
I think
one.
the prenup is like a good relationship test for people. If you can't get through the conversation of negotiating your prenup before you get married,
you're not going to raise a family.
It's not going to go
mortgages,
well.
businesses,
and over 50% of marriages end in divorce. So even if you go into it with the best of intentions, like you never know what's going to happen. I do think that marriage is still a really beautiful thing. And I think that we've let divorce, ruin the beauty of marriage. And I think one of the ways to bring back like the positive kind of feelings around marriage is to make divorce less shitty. Like, I think the reason that people hate marriage is because divorce is so dark and ugly.
Billions, $1 trillion business. Those divorce lawyers are living large off your money. They're making money off the money they didn't make. Like they're stealing your fucking money. They really are.
Yeah.
They are stealing your family's wealth. And they do it just so easy and so quick. And they bill stuff. You can't even track their billing. They're like, oh, this person did this. I printed 14 fucking boxes of paper. I didn't need to, but I made an extra $20,000 off you doing it. Ha ha. And now go throw it in the fucking landfill. They're like, do you want to take these folders home? And I was like, for a beach bonfire? Like, they're not one folder was ever opened, but they printed all that stuff. And so it's just a scam. But I bet a lot less people get into bad relationships if you discuss prenup. And women, don't think the prenup is there for the man's security. The prenup should be looked at as both of our security, and there is a lot of the time the rich, powerful man makes the wife sign the prenup to control her and do this and make sure she doesn't get the wealth. Well, he kind of sounds like a fucking douchebag, to be honest,
Yeah. And I think my mom, not that my dad necessarily went into their marriage with a ton of money, which I think it's still worth signing a prenup if you guys both go into the marriage without a ton of money, because when
zero money, great, prenup.
Still figure out, take the power back from the government.
Take the power back from the fucking attorneys. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But my mom was always, she said that she didn't want to leave my dad before we had graduated from high school. She had all these reasons that didn't end up, I don't know, working out so well for anybody. But she used to be afraid of money, afraid that my dad was going to screw her over if she left him. And in the state of California, that's not really the case. But I think that if she had known, hey, if I leave this marriage, this is what I'm going to get, she would have been able to make decisions not based out of fear anymore. I think it can be protective to a woman. If I'm not happy here, I know that if I leave here, I'm still going to have some protection while I figure out what's going on next. And so, yeah, I don't think it should be something that one person feels like they're getting screwed over. I think it should be something where both people go into it and say, yeah, I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you do discuss the prenup, and you've realized that your partner is a fucking greedy asshole, then don't get married. Yeah. Don't procreate. Don't build a life with somebody who's gonna just be if they're an asshole on day one, they're fucking gonna just be a bigger asshole as the relationship goes on. So the sooner you find out what the grain, what the disposition, what the soul of the person you want to start a family, a relationship, a long-term life business together. If they're not willing to share in the front, they're sure the fuck not going to share in the back.
Yeah. And it is uncomfortable. We've had conversations about finances as we take more steps in our relationship and are moving in together and are working together in all these ways. And sometimes they do turn into a bit of a fight, and sometimes they are very uncomfortable, but it's all the more reason to have them. If you're not having those conversations, people are holding on to fears, insecurities, and it brings you closer, or it makes you realize that you're not with the right person. They're
bingo.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It either makes you stronger or you realize, oh, maybe this just isn't the right relationship. It is better to learn that long before, I do fear that so many people in their society's pressures, I'm of an age, I need to get married. I'm of an age, I need to have a baby. I'm of an age. So they're like, oh, I can't bring up prenup. What if he leaves me? Or what if she leaves me? Or what about this? That's just a fucked up society we live in.
Yeah. I do empathize with women because we do have a serious biological clock, and some women really want to be mothers, and it's a tough position to be in. You can get a sperm donor, you can do all that shit. It sounds really fucking hard. So it is hard to be a woman who wants to have a kid and isn't in the right relationship. But I would say it's better to do whatever you have to do to make your dream for your life come true than be with somebody you hate, or be with somebody who doesn't treat you right. Because the biggest predictor of your life satisfaction and well-being is if you have a happy partnership.
And I've seen on all the Instagram stories of this rich person, the biggest financial investment of your life is your marriage, right? It literally is. The person, that's your biggest business move ever. So all you power guys and power women who are out there like, I'm a business person, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a creator, I do this. Well, think about it. The biggest business decision of your life is your life partner.
Yeah. Follow us on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. Leave us a rating and review. We love it. Send us any questions.
Yeah, I dare you to.